The Courage of Sarah Noble, Part 1. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Sarah who traveled with her father from their home in Connecticut through the forest all the way to the new land where they would be building a new house. Traveling with them were the two horses, Thomas and Samuel, who helped them by carrying a load. They arrived at the land, finally, after many, many days and nights of scary travel, and Pa said, "We're going to have to live in a cave. I'm going to go and start finding ways to build the house. Sarah, you stay here by yourself. You stay here by..." As the days went by, Sarah became friends with the Indian children and played with them. Sarah and the Indian children. And they played happily in the forest. Sarah taught the Indian children how to speak English, and the Indian children taught Sarah tricks like where to find strawberries and how to hunt in the forest. Tall John and Father continued to work on the house, and Thomas helped by hauling logs, carrying things on his back, and helping work on the house. Sarah no longer needed her cloak so much for courage because she was feeling more and more comfortable until one day, Pa and Tall John came to her. Pa said, "I've got something to tell you, Sarah. The house is finished, and I'm going to get Ma and the family. You will be staying here alone with Tall John and his family." "No, Pa, no, I can't," she wanted to say silently, but she didn't want Pa to see that she was scared. She had her cloak for courage. So she moved in with the Indian family, and Pa rode off with Thomas. Pa rode off with Thomas to get the family. Sarah and the Indian children played and did their chores as Pa traveled to get the family. But Sarah was always a little bit scared, and one night she laid down to sleep, and so did the Indian children. Everybody in the house was sleeping when suddenly Sarah heard a sound. Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. It sounded like a coyote, but she knew it was probably a signal. The Indians from the north, she thought. The Indians from the north. She was afraid the Indians from the north were going to come, and that would mean danger for her and Tall John's family. But the next morning, when she woke up, and Little John woke up, there was no danger. And Tall John said, "Sarah, in the night there was danger, but it's no longer there." She went out to play. And while they were playing, somebody snuck up behind her. It was Pa! It was Pa! He snuck up behind her. Here he comes. He got really close. Go on over to Sarah. He snuck up behind her and surprised her. And she said, "Pa, it's you! You're back!" And he said, "Yes, Sarah, I've come back with the family. We are ready to go home." Sarah went back home with her family and moved in, and hung her cloak up on a peg so she would remember that whenever she needed courage, she could use her cloak. She also taught her mom and their family that the Indians could be friends, and they all learned a lot from the story of Sarah Noble. Finally, Sarah was glad to see when she got to her home that Arabella was still there, and she was able to play with Arabella. She kept Arabella also as a symbol of courage and hope. The end.